When you have an immediate hit like Sonic the Hedgehog, you can guarantee a few things will happen. There will be hype. There will be questionable fanfiction. There will be a fan base of people who hate Sonic more than anyone else. And there will be spin-offs. When you think of Sonic spin-offs, many might jump to his racing endeavours such as Sonic R and Free Riders to take the piss, or Riders 1 and the All-Star games for quality. Some may think of the Tails games, and you might even get that rogue person talking about Sonic Shuffle, but you don't see many people talking about the earliest Sonic spin-offs. And I'm not talking Mean Bean Machine or Sonic Spinball, they aren't niche if you're a fan. Come on, every Sonic fan has played Spinball on the Game Gear for the sake of being the obsessive person who's played even that game, so now has the right to tell you your opinions on the modern ones are wrong. No, I'm talking about the time before Sonic 2 where they didn't even have characters besides Sonic or Robotnik to be the star of their games. Many franchises from the 90s did this, milking the character for all it's worth by using the small number of things available to them, or by just making shit up. And Sonic was no exception, let me tell you. So before we move forward, let's take a minute to join Sega on the drugs they were clearly taking when planning Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. Oh god. But before any of those Sonic games, we can't ignore Flicky, can we? Yeah, the Flickies are little animals who Robotnik captured in his spare time. Yeah, well, Flicky had his own arcade game a whole 7 years before Sonic was even on the scene in Japan. They did re-release Flicky on the Genesis in North America and Europe in 1991, I guess as a way to push some more units after Flicky appeared in Sonic 1. I suppose, if you wanted to argue that the Sonic franchise is merely a spin-off of Flicky, then you totally could, but I'll stop being that person now. Flicky is actually the most widely available game we're discussing here today, as it's the only one with a retail release for starters, and it also made its way into the Sonic Mega Collection, and a few other collections along the way. You can also get it on Steam by itself, which, let me tell you, I was not expecting. The game was released in response to Namco's Mappy, and was originally titled Busty. Oh god, the fanfiction, it's coming. Anyway, moving swiftly along, what have we got here? Well, it's an arcade platformer. There's not a lot to it. It's about getting a high score and bragging to your mates in 2023 or 100% playing Flicky at 120 FPS with an 8K monitor. Every stage has a whole bunch of these birds to find and rescue by touching them and leading to a set of doors. Why these little birds can't get there on their own is a mystery to me, especially as they are immune to the tigers relentlessly chasing you. These guys are one-hit kill, and they are pretty fast. You can jump over them or even chuck something to kill them, but you can't jump while holding an item and they are in limited supply. So it's about taking your time and tackling every moment one by one. It's a kinetic game for sure, helped by the fact that the control is actually not bad. Flicky is a little slippery, meaning your reaction times need to be on point, but you can jump pretty high and can even change direction in midair. Not bad for the time. It's a fun game, but like most arcade games, you see all it's got to offer very quickly, so I didn't feel the need to play much of this. But it is fun, and if you're ever curious enough to play it on the Mega Collection, you'll have a good time for sure. We started off pretty gentle there, didn't we? So I think it's time to go in raw, with Sonic Eraser. Yeah, Sonic Eraser. A game that's a pain in the ass to Google as it brings up this cock. Sonic Eraser only ever released for an online service in Japan. You needed a hefty amount of expansions for your Sega Mega Drive in order to play this one. And yeah, I said Mega Drive because these expansions were never made available outside Japan. The game was re-released again if you use Sega's B Club download services, but again, only in Japan. Would you be surprised to hear that not many people played Sonic Eraser? Hey, they might have if they hadn't been chicken shits and released it in the Sonic Gems collection. I'll talk about this collection one day, but it'll always bother me how many barely known Sonic games were supposed to be a part of this, but were cut for reasons I can't understand. Look, I managed to download Sonic Eraser on my computer. I'm sure the devs could have figured out how to port this extremely simple puzzle game to the GameCube. That's all this is. A very, very simple puzzle game using two Sonic sprites standing back to back as its in-game presentation. Well, that and a storybook for the title screen. Sort of funny that I made the Sonic and the Secret Rings connection earlier with the whole Eraser Google thing, and this and Secret Rings end up sharing a theme with the storybook. Anyway, puzzle game. Sonic vs Sonic. Match the blocks to win. Do I need to say more? Not really, but I will for the sake of the video. So it's a little unconventional. You get 4 blocks dropping in some very weird patterns, and you only need to match 2 shapes in order to get points. However, this won't get you that much. I like how even when the blocks have hit the road that you get quite a lot of wiggle room to move them about before it stops, and this can help you build bigger chains. Get enough matches before your opponent and Sonic will spinball into the other Sonic, or he just fucking clocks him. I wasn't expecting that, I gotta say. But yeah, this will daze your opponent and give them no control over the next few blocks. That's about it as far as gameplay goes. There are a few modes to play, but I couldn't really understand the difference, so I didn't really bother. I hope it didn't sound like I'm uninterested. I genuinely am glad to have played this, but it's just a basic puzzle game. What else can I say? It really begs the question though, why remove it from the Gems collection? I mean, it's not like it would have been hard to include. Maybe this book hides something darker. Alright, it's time. Buckle in and prepare to go at the speed limit as to prevent harm to others. It's time for Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. The thin blue line's never been bluer. Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car was part of Sega's Waku Waku lineup, where they provided these Waku Waku machines to different places. Right, what does Waku Waku actually translate to? Frame. Well, that can't be right, unless Sonic is a dirty cop and is framing innocents to cover up his crimes. I wouldn't put it past him. Ah, well, whatever. The unit was given an English release, but it didn't get shipped overseas. It was just sent to shopping centres and probably a few arcades. As one of those rides for the kids to keep them happy while the parents abandon them while shopping. I'm kidding, of course. Please don't leave your kids with policeman Sonic here, who's on trial for drug trafficking. I'm sorry for losing focus. I think I'm avoiding the main topic at hand here. So, this game, of course, has never been re-released. However, a ROM was ripped of it, and that's how we're playing it today. I do promise, though, if I ever see one of these things, I'll post a picture with me in it. I also issued that challenge to all of you. Let's find one of these things. How amazing would that be? Okay, I don't know where to begin with this one. I actually haven't a clue. So, Sonic comes out of the station and says something. I don't know, but context is overrated, I must stress. Okay, here we go, boys. I can move left and right, and for some reason when I go right, I boost, but not when I go left. Maybe that's just the emulator? I don't know. We can also jump, but I can't really see why for the moment. Next, Sonic yells some abuse at these animals crossing the road slowly. I mean, I live in the UK, so I'm used to it.
What the fuck? You're walking a fucking ostrich, you daft cunt.
Then after driving into incoming traffic and causing thousands in property damage, we catch up with Robotnik, who throws bombs at us. That's not great road etiquette, mate. How do you pass your test? Anyway, we jump into him a few times and his car explodes, surely causing mass chaos on the roads. Sonic then lets him escape and heads back to the station. Wipe that smile off your face, lad, you fucked it! I got 4 stars for my performance. I have no idea what I did to earn such a ranking, but hey, what can I say? I'm an expert. And that's that. I mean, it's cute, I guess. Can we move on now? Great. Cool. Thanks. Okay, so here we are. The main one. I guess, it's still super short, but I feel it's the most noteworthy, and yet possibly had the worst title, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. Why is it called that? Why not Sonic Arcade or Sonic Robotnik Island or something? Ah well, this game has always been a bit of a special case within the franchise, as a game that I think all of us wish we could play, but barely any of us actually have. The game boasts incredible animation and a really great soundtrack, and I think most of us are familiar with those aspects of the game. Sega Sonic the Hedgehog has never been re-released on anything. It was planned a few times, such as for the Sega 32X, the Gems collection, and even more recently as part of the Sega Aegis lineup, but ultimately, it's never got the full green light, mostly due to the game's control scheme. Playing this game involved using a rollerball to allow for very quick and precise movements. In theory, I couldn't tell you how it actually controlled because playing with an analog stick is a totally different experience. It's not been possible to directly convert the control scheme to analog, and it leads to, I'll be frank, utter chaos when trying to play this on an emulator. For me, well, I reduced my analog sensitivity to 0.1 in the settings in order to try and make it work, and it sorta did. I mean, I had enough control to get to the end of the game, but goddamn, the later levels were a fucking mess. I do apologize for the chaos of my footage. I really wasn't in control of the characters at any point during this. It's sort of funny to watch them just bounce about uncontrollably, running straight to their inevitable dooms, but hey, they look good while doing it. I can pump this virtual machine with continue, so I could just brute force my way to the end, but I really can't comment on the difficulty or the level design much, as again, I wasn't really in control. However, I can say that this game has amazing energy. Every stage is just go, go, go. Do not stop, you can't stop. Something is always after you, whether it's falling icicles or a robot with a spiky rolling pin. So you must not stop until you escape the island as Sonic, Mighty the Armadillo, or Ray the Flying Squirrel. Yeah, these two, some fan favourites here, which is incredible considering how few times they've ever appeared. These two have been like the lost Sonic characters for years now, besides featuring in the comics. Now, Mighty made one other game appearance, but Ray, nah, this was it until 2018 Sonic Mania Plus, which brought them both back as playable characters. That reveal was such an insane moment, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, they now have a modernised appearance. Anyway, all 3 characters play exactly the same, it's more just preference, as they can jump, and that's it. I love the spinball animation here though, in fact, all the animation is worth highlighting, this game looks amazing. However, playing this on an emulator, you can tell you're in for a bad time with the controls when actually changing your character at the start or after a death is like a total game of chance. I never really had a choice, I just roll with the punches. Everything here is like a reaction test, because there's not really much else to do in stages except collect rings, I guess for a high score, and I wasn't able to collect many. They do restore your health slightly, but that didn't really mean much to me as I was dying constantly anyway. I should note the game is fully playable multiplayer with 3 people, which I imagine is how you're supposed to collect all the rings, but alone with an analog stick, it ain't happening. You know, I will say, despite everything, I still had fun. The game is about 20 minutes long, but if anything, I just enjoyed watching the antics happen. I had no idea what was going on plot-wise due to the text being Japanese only, but as I said before, Context is overrated. I was just happy experiencing the chaos and enjoying the animation because, as I've said, it really does look amazing. Mighty looks like he's on fire when he jumps, it's so cool. If you want to see how the game was supposed to play, there is footage online of the multiplayer action, so it might be worth checking that out too. But truly, I do hope one day this does get re-released. It's such an interesting case of a game that could have been such a footnote, but has enough of a reputation that people still want it. If for nothing else, the soundtrack, because goddamn, this shit is great. And that's all the games we'll be covering for today. Never in my life did I think I'd be covering Sonic Eraser for a review, but hey, what can you do? Anyway, I won't keep you waiting any longer. Next video we're going to go straight into Sonic CD, the next mainline entry. How does it stack up to previous games? What legacy did it leave? All that good stuff and more next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you then.